Okay. I always get a little tripped out trying to make this YouTube system work. Going live. It's pretty complicated. So let's see if it's working. Okay, it looks like it's working. Ah, sorry. I don't even think anybody will watch because this is crazy and I don't know, nobody cares what's going on with me and this live stream. But nevertheless, I was going to share it with you. So, April ended up being a crazy month for me, way more than I could have ever imagined. Let's start with the health problems that I experienced in April. I had been having actually problems all the way from back to when I went to Sundance, where I felt like, oh, I just had this cold and I had this kind of gravelly type thing going on with my breathing. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and it was just, it's such a scary feeling when you feel like you can't get a full breath and you're constantly and that's how I felt, and that was awful. It was absolutely awful. And I never would have thought that. I mean, obviously, you know that your heart is connected to your breathing, but never like so connected in that way. It's very interesting to me. And and so I went to the doctor, and he was like, "Oh, it's just asthma. Here's an inhaler. Here's a little prednisone." He was pretty rude, and sometimes you'll get that in the doctors. You know that he has the attitude of like, "Well, you're plus size. You don't care about your health anyway. I'm not even going to give you much of an attention." And that's how I felt about this doctor, and he was pretty rude and not very helpful, and so that was stressful. So I was still just not feeling good. I was feeling like I was not able to breathe, and that's very, very awful to feel that way. Trust me. And so it went on for like 2 months where I didn't feel like I could breathe. And hi, Jaden and Survival Sweeters. Hi. Yeah, and so I just kind of just kept powering through because that's my personality. And I felt fine, like as far as I didn't feel sick. But then, of course, with all this COVID talk, and one of the signs of the COVID-19 is a shortness of breath. And so I was very concerned. And so I went and got tested once, and they said negative. And then I was feeling so out of breath, and just like my heart was racing. So I went to the Instacare, and they were very concerned because my blood pressure was through the roof, over 200, which is really bad. And so like they want it to be around 140. So that's how high that it was. And so they said, you really should go to the ER, the emergency room. They almost called the ambulance, but I said, no, I can drive. I'll be okay. So I drove to the ER because the reason why they wanted me in the ER is they wanted to be able to have all of the tests available that you could do. And so they ended up deciding that I needed to see a cardiologist. And so I ended up doing a whole bunch of tests. They did they did a CAT scan and blood tests and all kinds of things. And luckily, almost everything else is perfectly great. My blood sugar is good. My cholesterol is good. Anything else like that is good. It's just this blood pressure problem. So I went and got an echocardiogram from the cardiologist, and they put me on some medicine for my blood pressure, and then also something because there was some fluid in my lungs to help it kind of help me to be able to finally be able to breathe. And it has made such a difference. I've responded very well to all of the medicine, and I've been trying to not eat any salt, as little as possible. And so through all of that, I've been able to get, today, my blood pressure was down to the 140. So I've been able to get it down 60 points in a week through the medicine and through the no salt. So I feel really, really blessed. And now that it's been lower, like I feel so much better than I had for months and months and months. And part of that's probably mental, but it was just, it's really amazing. You don't realize how you're kind of dragging along until you actually feel good. And so that's been a very interesting experience, and something I'm gonna have to keep up. I'm gonna have to keep working on the salt and all that other things going on. So sorry. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Long day. Yeah, so I am really glad and I feel very blessed that I've been able to figure that out. And honestly, I don't know if there hadn't been the COVID-19, if I would have gotten as checked out. I think I would have just kept powering through because that's my personality. But I'm so glad that I did. And so let's see, we have some comments. Hope you're okay. Thanks so much, Jaden. You're so sweet. I really appreciate everyone's support and kind words and prayers. I definitely felt it, and it's meant a lot to me, so I really appreciate that. And Survival Sweeters says, I have a movie question. What do you think about Wes Anderson films? It's really interesting about Wes Anderson. I think that he is brilliant, and he's great at doing what he does. He has his brand, and I think that his movies that have a little bit more whimsy in them, to me, are the ones that are a little more successful. I'm not a big fan of particularly some of his movies like Rushmore that people love. I understand the skill, but it's a little mean-spirited to me. I like the ones that are a little more whimsical. I like the Grand Budapest Hotel. I like Moonrise Kingdom. I like his animated ones. They just have a little bit more charm to them to me than his other ones that to me come across as a little blunt and a little just not my style. So that's kind of how I feel about Wes Anderson. But for the most part, I'm a fan, and I look forward to his films whenever they come out. You have to let me know what you think of Wes Anderson. And are you excited for his new film this summer? Well, it maybe got moved to the fall. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's coming out. I forget what it's called. Deputy Agent or something like that. Gara Wallstar says, I'm sorry to hear that. So thank you so much. Like I said, thank you everybody for all your prayers and thoughts. And as I figured this out, and I'm just so grateful that I was able to find a good doctor with good care, and that I live in Utah in a place where everyone was getting tested. And there was just so many blessings about living here that I'm grateful for. So it's been quite the month for me in that regard. And so that's personal health. I've really been enjoying doing the Sunday devotionals with Chris from Durbania. That's been something I've been able all week to be able to think about the topics, and they haven't gotten that many listens, but I've really enjoyed doing them, and something I feel like I'm at a really good spiritual place right now, which is unique in this quarantine to be able to do. The French Dispatch is the new Wes Anderson. So I'm looking forward to that. And so I've really enjoyed doing that on my channel, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to them. We try to keep them as non-denominational as possible. Then we also have had every week doing the Hidden Gems from Disney Plus or Netflix with Ryan Cam, and that's been so much fun, and I hope that people have enjoyed that and getting to dig past the Mandalorians and your big things on Disney Plus. I've really enjoyed it, and then of course Family Movie Night has continued on. We had The Little Princess, we had Heidi, which was really fun to do, and then also Madeline. I would say those are three kind of underrated movies that are about that I think are very appropriate for this time. They're all about kids that are sort of put through tough times, and they keep their hope going. And so I really enjoyed doing all those. We also had some Criterion projects over the course of the month. We had the Police Story, and we had On the Waterfront, two really different but fun classic films to talk about, and that was great. And then also on the channel, we had two different episodes of Talking Disney, where... Let's see, it just disconnected for some reason. There, can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why I did that. And so I really enjoyed doing that compare contrast between the two of them. I thought that worked really well. Let's see, Survival Sweeters says, I love Wes Anderson films. He's my favorite director. And Gara Wallstar says, I know you despise Brother Bear after seeing your review, but if Disney ever remade the film, what do you want them to improve upon remaking it? Oh gosh, I mean, I would just, if they were going to remake Brother Bear, I would make make Kenhai more likable. He's just such a grumpy a hero for your story. I would also get rid of the music. I think that the first song is nice, but I feel like Tina Turner was such a strange choice for it. I would also cut way down on the comic relief. I don't know. It's just, maybe there's some good stuff in there as far as the Inuits and some of the story, but I don't know. I just feel like these people turning into bear stories just aren't the best. And so I don't know what I would do beyond that, but definitely make him more likable. I think that's a big problem in the movie. Let's see. Survival Sweeter says, Moonrise Kingdom and Stepbrothers are my 2 favorite films. Nice. There you go. All right. So we did that. And then we also did Talking Disney with the Aristocats, which was a lot of fun. I think people enjoyed that. So a lot going on the channel this month. We also had a lot going on over at Hallmarky's podcast. It's been really cool because the whole team there has been starting their own series and own podcast. We have Deliver Me, a podcast which is all about Sign Sale Delivered. We have the When Hope Calls and When Calls the Heart podcast that I'm not even on those anymore, and so they get to do those, and they're doing an amazing job and just crushing it and doing interviews, and there's so much that I don't even have to worry about. We just barely started a new podcast called the Fran Cast, which has its own feed on iTunes, so if you like The Nanny, the show from the 90s, please check that out. I really want it to be a success. So Darkside Review says hi. So yeah, if you like The Nanny, please look up the Fran Cast. We just are launching it just this last week. It got on iTunes, and I'm really excited about it, and I really want it to be a success, so please check that out. I would really appreciate it. And so Survival Sweeter says, what is your favorite movie of 2020? My favorite movie of 2020 is Emma. As far as new movies, I really loved it. I saw it 3 times in theaters, which, considering what's happened, that's pretty amazing. And I don't know, I just loved it. I thought it was really funny. I love period pieces like that. But I thought it took some risks and tried some different things, but still stayed true to the story. And I thought they had great chemistry between Emma and Mr. Knightley. So that one was my favorite. Also, some other things that I saw. I got to see My Spy. This was in March, actually, before things fell apart. And I got to see it. That was my last critic screening. And it's harmless. It's not great, but if it's on like cable, you could watch it, and it has some sweet parts. But I don't think that Dave Bautista is there yet for this. I don't think he's a big enough star, has that charisma to pull off a movie like that yet. It wasn't awful, but I can't really recommend it. And then I saw Stargirl, and this is harmless. But it was a little too Manic Pixie Dream Girl for me. She was a little too annoying for me. So that one wasn't my favorite, but I didn't hate it. He says, yeah, I love anything with Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah, she's so good in Emma. It was really fun. And we did, over on Hallmarky's podcast, we did a whole episode of the podcast where we compared all the different versions of Emma. So you should check that out if you liked Emma. And it says, do you like the Royal Tenenbaums? I've actually never seen the Royal Tenenbaums. That's one I need to catch up on. I have not seen it. I also saw Swallow. That movie, it's a horror movie about this. It's a psychological thriller about this woman who starts swallowing bizarre household objects like tacks and marbles. And it was really beautifully made. The filming of it was really good. The acting's really good. I didn't really love the ending and kind of where they went with it. I didn't feel like they needed to kind of give her a reason for her psychosis. But nevertheless, if you like things that are weird and different. It's worth checking out. And then Hallmark, they had their Spring Fling series. And so we got the movies Just My Type, which was my favorite of the series. And then we had You're Baking Me Crazy, which I got to interview the author and the star of that movie. And I really loved both those interviews. And the movie was a lot of fun. And so then we had also Fashionably Yours, which wasn't my favorite. It was a little boring for me. They were talking a lot about moving and a lot about organizing, and it was Seattle. So that one wasn't my favorite. And then finally they had The Nature of Love, which was all about glamping. And you had Amelia Ullerup, and her character was super scared of wild animals, which I definitely related to and I thought was quite funny. The plot wasn't the best, but it was hard. It was entertaining enough. I liked it okay, I would say. Agosa Osula says, "Hey Rachel, my name is Agosa. I'm one of your subscribers. I have a question for you. Do you watch Turner Classic Movies?" I do. In fact, we had the Turner Classic Movie Home Film Festival in April, which was really cool. I'm still actually behind and watching some of the things that I have recorded from there, but it was really neat. They played old interviews and old movies, and I got to watched Stars Born, the cut where they place in sometimes just still photos with the vocals. So it's a weird different cut. But it was interesting nonetheless. And they had interviews from Faye Dunaway and one from Ava Marie Saint, which was really interesting, especially since we just covered On the Waterfront for Criterion Project. So yeah, that was really cool. I definitely love Turner Classic Movies, and you got to have it on your subscription. So I watched Trolls World Tour, and I thought that it was better than the first one. But I didn't think it really nailed that landing as far as the message of that you can like whatever music that you want, and that all music brings joy. That there was still this idea that everybody in their particular lands had to like the same thing and do the same thing. And so I would have loved for them individually as characters to have embraced all the different kinds of music, which I don't think they really did. So it didn't quite get there for me. It's definitely not terrible, but if you're I couldn't quite recommend the film. Then we had, on Lifetime, they had The Clark Sisters, the First Ladies of Gospel, which was a pretty good TV movie about these singers, the Clark Sisters, but it was a little too rushed. That's the problem. It really should have been a mini-series, because they crammed so much in to one TV movie. And then I saw Wedding Repeat on Netflix, which I hated. I thought it was awful. It wasn't funny. I wasn't romantic. It was really vulgar. It was not for me. Let's see. What movie do you like better? It 2017 or Get Out 2017? I actually haven't seen it. I never have. I'm a little bit of a wimp when it comes to horror movies. Sorry, Pixar fan. But I did like Get Out quite a bit. I thought that was really funny and creative and clever. It's one of those movies you keep thinking about the more that you are, the more that you think about it, the more you like it. Then I saw Elephant and Dolphin Reef. I think Elephant was a little bit hurt by the fact that there was a movie called The Elephant Queen that I saw at Sundance last year, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's better than this, but it's still fun and cute, and you gotta like the little elephants. And then Dolphin Reef was really good. Those Disney nature films, they're always enjoyable. So I liked that. Then I saw The Willoughbys. I really liked the animation, but I just didn't think it was funny enough, so that the whole thing just left me kind of sour. I did not love it. And I don't know. I just felt like none of the characters were really fleshed out or interesting enough. It was kind of one joke over and over again, and I just wish it had been funnier to kind of make up for the really, really dark things that happen as far as their parents and some of their stuff. It wasn't my favorite, but it's not awful either. I loved Bad Education with Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney. They're basically running the scam while also being these superintendents and leaders of the school system in Long Island. And it's based on a true story. I thought it was funny. I thought it was smart. I thought it was really well acted, really well written. The script never let you down. It was just clip, 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 clip. And I think it's definitely one of the best films I've seen all year. If you haven't seen Bad Education, I definitely recommend it. And then I saw A Secret Love on Netflix, and I really liked the back history about this lesbian couple. But the new stuff I didn't really like as much, and it was just them moving, and some of the stuff was kind of stressful, but the old stuff about their relationship more I really liked, and their experience in one of them being a baseball player and stuff. So it's worth checking out, but I thought that it could have been better. It says, are you looking forward to Lord of the Rings series on Amazon? It is my favorite movie franchise. I love high fantasy. I'm not as big a fan of high fantasy as you are, Darkside Reviews, but I did like the original Lord of the Rings movies. I do not like the Hobbit movies. Those movies were very boring to me. And some of the battles can be a little long for me. I did not watch Game of Thrones, and I'm pretty sure that that's kind of be the model that they're going to be making the show off of. But I hope that it doesn't have the R-rated content of Game of Thrones, that it's a little bit more I don't need it to be family friendly, but just not as much nudity and some other things as Game of Thrones. And I hope that it has sort of the heart that I think The Hobbit was missing. The Hobbit is just an adventure. It doesn't have the story that The Lord of the Rings had at its core of this fight against evil. And that's what they're going to have to replicate to make the series work. And you know, they're going to have that casting. They're going to have that core story of what is it that they're fighting against. And I think that's really important with fantasy, with high fantasy, is that you have a clear evil that the good guys are fighting against. And that's what you missed in The Hobbit. So that'll be interesting to see if it's something that can win me over, because I am a tough sell when it comes to that kind of thing. So Pixar fan says, did you like Onward? I did. I loved Onward. I thought it was so sweet and funny, and I really liked that relationship between the brothers. I could relate to it because my brother and I always fought a lot, and so that was definitely a dynamic that I really connected with. And I really loved the animation. The world building was very creative. The quest was a little bit easy. I get that complaint. I think that's probably true. But I thought the ending was very bold and brave of them, and interesting and surprising. And I thought it was funny enough. So I enjoyed it. I thought that it was a good film, and it's too bad that it came out when it did, because I think it got kind of screwed over because of that. So yeah, then I saw Onward, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't updated. I saw The Way Back. That was in March. Also saw I Still Believe in March. Which I liked both of those films. Those are ones that have stayed with me. The only thing I really disliked was Love, Wedding, Repeat. I really hated that movie. It was awful. I loved McMillions, which was a series. I've also been enjoying The Last Dance, which is all about the Michael Jordan and the 1998 Bulls. I like sports documentaries, so that's been pretty entertaining to watch. Are there any other questions of things that I've watched? I know that's kind of a lot in one thing. Darkster, do you see Up? What do you think? Yes! Up's one of my favorite movies, like of all time favorite movies. I love the movie Up. I really relate to it because I had a really close relationship with one of my grandpas, and the other one was kind of cantankerous. So I feel like Carl is sort of both my grandpas in one person. And I love that how he's able to forgive himself for not giving Ellie the life that he thinks that she deserved. And in the end, when he reads the note from her, it's so moving and lovely. And he knows that she really did love him all along. And I think that's so good. But yeah, I love Up. I love the music. I love everything pretty much about it. So I think that is a really good movie. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens coming forward, because we will have all of these movies that we're going to start to see. I'm pretty confident that we're going to get Tenet in July, and then we have Mulan, and we have Wonder Woman coming up and everything like that. But when are they, as far as TV, like we've had a lot of TV now, a lot of series now, but when are they going to be able to film again? That's the big question. And so we could have a low series / TV year next year and have a low movie year this year and kind of swap it off. I think I could see that happening for sure. And so do you consider Coco a musical? Do I consider Coco a musical? No, I do not. But I love the music in it, absolutely. And I did get to watch Coco. We did a virtual watch, me and Stanford, and so that was really fun and a nice break. One cool thing that's happened is there's a movie theater by my house that has a lot of ground near it, and so they set up this sort of makeshift drive-in movie theater for us, and I got to see Jurassic Park. And I got to see Back to the Future there, and that was just such a treat. It was so needed during this time to be able to get to see two of my all-time favorite movies on the screen, on the big screen. So that was really, really cool, and I was grateful that they were creative in coming up with a solution for us to be able to watch movies. I don't think we'll be in the movie theater in May, but it could be. Things are moving pretty quickly here in Utah in a safe and thoughtful way. So I appreciate that. And bipartisan, we have people from both parties that are working on the solutions for Utah, and I just think it's really impressive what they've been doing. So he says, what is your favorite streaming service? I like Netflix because of the international exposure to actors and directors. That's a good point. I mean, I have to say, I think that Disney Plus is my favorite, just because of all of the catalog of the great Disney films that are on there, particularly the animated classics that you can have. But I admit, on original content, it's hard to beat Netflix. And even things like Claus and Hilda, and so they have so many great shows, and it's gonna be interesting to see how HBO Max, how that ends up competing with Netflix. I guess, is it out, or it's coming out this month or something like that? So that's going to be interesting. But as far as my own personal tastes, I have to go with Disney Plus as my favorite streaming service. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing those hidden gems of Disney Plus episodes, so I hope you check those out, because there's a lot of really good stuff on Disney Plus, for sure. Yeah, and what else do I have to talk about? It's been really cool to see how creative people have gotten. At one of the live theaters by us, the Hale Center Theater, Orem, has been doing live streams of their past plays. I guess they had them recorded or whatever, so you can see live theater at home, which has been really cool and a good way to support the theater. But there's been a lot of creative things like that. I really enjoyed the Disney sing-along, family sing-along. That was very creative. I didn't really like Ariana Grande, but everybody else I really enjoyed. Let's see. What movie are you most looking forward to? Godzilla vs. Kong or Seoul? Definitely Seoul. I did not like Godzilla King of the Monsters. I did not like the way it was filmed. I did not like the way it was edited. I did not like the story. I thought it was very poor. So I was not a fan, so I'm not excited. And I didn't really like Kong Skull Island either. So Godzilla vs. Kong does not really interest me that much. I would not see it if I wasn't a critic. So, yeah, I definitely, and Soul, I mean, I love Pete Docter's movies. I've loved every single one of his films, and the whole premise just looks really interesting and beautiful. And so you got me hooked. Just knowing it's a Pete Docter movie alone it's one of my most anticipated of the whole year, for sure. That and Wonder Woman 84, I'm really excited about. So yeah, I don't know if you liked Godzilla King of the Monsters. It was not for me. Not at all. He said, I read the premise of Godzilla vs. Kong and it sounds so generic. Yeah, I just have not liked what they've done with this monster universe. I mean, I'm not the biggest monster movie fan in general, but I don't know. To me, Godzilla King of the Monsters was a giant Transformers movie. I thought it looked terrible. I thought it was terrible. It was just not for me. So what happened to the On Friendship series? Yes, so sorry about that. We did miss in April. We actually had it recorded, but then things kept coming and coming. We're actually going to be airing that this upcoming week. We're airing On Friendship this Wednesday. So sorry about that, being a little bit late. And it's going to be on Anything for Love, where with Paul Green and Erica Christensen. And I think we had a really good discussion, and I think you'll really like it. I think it's a really good one. So, we kind of ended up doing an extended one, I think, in March. So hopefully it all worked out. But do you have any favorite movie-going rituals? Favorite seat snack? Are you must see the previews kind of girl? It's a very good question. I do like to get to almost anything as early as I can because I don't like dodging through people and trying to get to my seat and I don't know. I just like being there early enough to kind of have my space and. Especially if it's anything like the airport, I try to get to the airport as early as possible. I really like going to these theaters where they actually have like real food as opposed to just popcorn. But I do love movie popcorn too. I'm gonna have to be careful and not really eat it very much because of the salt. Is going to be a problem, and I'm trying to eat very little salt. And it really, not eating salt cuts out a lot of bad food from your diet. You cut out salt and sugar. That's pretty much all the bad food. But I do love getting some food and having my space, and I have my refillable mug, and I like watching the previews, and if I can, I like watching the previews and just relaxing. If it's something that I am reviewing, I'll kind of try to be extra cognizant of kind of what I'm going to see, and usually say hi to some of the other critics and things like that. But yeah, that's basically for me as far as I probably my favorite. I do love the chocolate covered peanuts. That's probably my favorite of the candy. Is really good. But I try not to drink too much because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom. Movie has to be pretty bad usually if I end up having to go to the bathroom. That's usually a sign I don't like it very much. So that's cool, Michelle, that you remembered about the On Friendship and they're your favorite. I really appreciate that because those episodes usually are kind of long. And so I'm always grateful that people like that series as much as they do. Pixar fan says, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Seoul more than Godzilla versus King Kong. I want November 20th to get here sooner. I know. I kind of wish that they could take it back and keep Seoul in June. I could just use that movie right now. But I understand why they had to change it. But I'm glad that Christopher Nolan is bunkering down and really trying to get that July date. I feel like that will definitely happen. I think there's been so much progress already in the month of May. And it just depends on where you live as far as how they can reopen. Here in Utah, I feel like they're doing it the right way. I really do. And I think that people are being really safe. And so I feel confident that we'll be able to see that movie in July. I really do. Let's see. Hi, it's great. Do you think great storytelling can exist in art along with blockbusters in the process? I certainly do. I'm not one of these people that believes in cinema and that there's some kinds of movies that are art pieces and that are elevated and some parts of movies that are not. I think that you can find art in any film and that there's even TV movies. I mean, I'm an advocate of those, and that there's an artistry to those as well. So yes, I definitely think you can find that art, and that there is a craft to creating things that are appealing to the masses. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's less value to it. I really don't. I think that that's so silly and ridiculous. So I really do. What do you like to see in Ghibli animation? I like to see the movement, the animations, and the big smiles. I think that's all really true. I like... I don't know. I think my favorite thing, particularly in Miyazaki movies, is the emotional truth that he gets in his characters. Whether it's in Princess Mononoke or Kiki or Chihiro in Spirited Away, his characters are honest about how they're feeling mentally. Even in Totoro, the little girls, they're so worried about their mother. And I think that emotional honesty is really, really refreshing. And it helps you really care about the characters and the little girls, and you see them grow up and become women that they're not trying to be something that they're not. They're honest with how they feel. And I always appreciate that about Miyazaki's writing and his characters. And I love the talking cats too. That's a lot of fun. And all the airplanes. Those are all hallmarks of Miyazaki in his movies. So did you see the last Airbender movie? I thought it was garbage. The reason I hate it is the most because they didn't even pronounce the names of the characters right. Yeah, it was the most boring movie I've ever seen in my life, is the last Airbender. It was terrible. I mean, I've only seen a little bit of the series, but I mean, give me a break. It was just such a plodding, boring, movie. I don't know, one of my least favorite I've ever seen in my life. But I'm not a Shyamalan fan at all, and that's definitely his worst movie, for sure. Okay, so the nature views are what bring me in. Yeah, I love not only the nature views as far as the animation, because it looks so beautiful. I love that in Ponyo, all the water. Oh, it's so beautiful. And there's nothing in the world cuter than Ponyo, as far as I'm concerned. But also the sound, they have such amazing sound design in Studio Ghibli. You know, when they're stepping on the grass, it really feels like you're stepping on grass or something. Or when they're in the water, there's just such an amazing sound design that they always have in Studio Ghibli films. Also the sound of the propellers, the planes, like in Porco Rosso. It's so... You feel immersed. You feel like you're there with them. And I think that, or The Wind Rises, it has amazing sound design. And so that's something really special about Studio Ghibli. And I don't know, there's such amazing heart to those movies, even if they have flaws. But in the end, you kind of know what they're going for, and you feel it in the characters. And they're just so visually lush and immersive that there's just nothing like Studio Ghibli, except for maybe Your Name. It feels kind of like another Studio Ghibli film, but it's not. So Makoto Shinkai is kind of carrying that banner along to the next generation. Picture Fan says, I'm not looking forward to Artemis Fowl, but I'm going to review it, so I'm going to watch it. It does kind of have a bad stink about it now that it's been moved to Disney Plus, and it just seemed like they were never that excited about it. It has a great cast, but I want it to be good, but their attempts to start new franchises and do, something more original as opposed to these remakes have not done that well. Whether it's, particularly Wrinkle in Time, but the Zorro movie, I don't know, John Carter, these attempts to try to start new adaptations from classic books haven't been going very well for Disney. And so I feel like if they really believed in it, they probably wouldn't have put it to Disney Plus. But I want it to be good because I'm tired of them doing these remakes, and I wish that they would do more new ideas. And I know it's not technically original, but it feels original. I would love them to find a new franchise that really worked, but probably not. But we'll see. I'll try to have an open mind for sure about it, because I would love it for it to be really good. But I'm pretty skeptical at the same time. So That's the only one that they ended up moving. People were like, why didn't they move New Mutants? The reason why is because HBO owns the rights to the streaming of the X-Men for a little bit longer, and so they actually couldn't put it to Disney Plus. It would have to go to HBO Max. So we'll see whenever that ends up getting in the theaters. I don't know. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I was doing a lot of podcasting, a lot of interviews. And I just had one this last weekend with actress Kylie Evans, and she was so much fun. That one was really successful. I really liked that. We'll have in 2 weeks an interview / ranking I did with Paul Campbell on his movies with Caroline, and that is really fun. And you can listen to that now if you are a patron of the channel, so check that out. We also have an interview with Leslie Diamatras and Kevin Duna they're the director and producer of Two Turtle Doves, and right now you can listen to that on our patron group early. And so if you're interested in that, you should definitely check it out. We're so grateful for our patrons. If they remake the Pixar films, I'm going to be very angry. The one good thing about the Pixar films, I guess, they have going for it is they're almost all of them don't have people. So they're a lot trickier to remake. And they were already CGI, so you can't update them that way, as opposed to 2D animation. Except for The Incredibles, that'd be the only one that you could do a live action remake on, really. I guess Brave. I don't know. Is it really going to help you that much to have a live action photorealistic WALL-E? I feel like we already came so close to that. So I think that I don't know. If they did a live action Toy Story, I feel like that would look so weird. We'll see. Dexter says, it seems more and more that we are seeing a marriage between streaming content and movies. How Disney Marvel shows will influence the movies. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting because they haven't been able to do that because the Netflix shows were so much stronger as far as mature content than the MCU. But I guess these ones are going to be closer, so they're able to merge it. They had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too, but that's also hard because Agent Coulson is dead in the MCU, so how much can you really integrate him anyway? I don't know. It's tricky. But they were really separate, and now they're definitely combining them together, which is interesting because are people going to have seen the shows and able to understand the movies? And Kevin Feige's always been able to kind of keep that really separate. So I don't know. Especially if they're going to do any of the movies rated R for Blade or Deadpool or something like that. Are you going to have seen that in order to understand the cinematic universe? That's a problem. I don't know. It's definitely a problem. Let's see. I saw you gave The Tree of Life a 5 out of 5. Do you still like it? Also, do you feel it is a Christian or a religious film? I definitely feel it is a religious film. I think that it has Christian feels. There's definitely themes in there, but I wouldn't say it's a Christian film. It's definitely not a faith-based film, but it's definitely a religious film. It's definitely a film that thinks about the meaning of life, and it's a very thoughtful film from Terrence Malick. It's definitely not for everybody, but I thought it was beautiful about, it's kind of like a prayer in movie form. And it's one of those art pieces that I really enjoyed, and it made me cry when I saw it. I can see why it wouldn't be for everybody because it doesn't have a ton of story. But it has enough, I think, with what happened with the Sean Penn character when he was a little boy and his mother and father, and sort of thinking about life from that angle is beautiful. Let's see. I don't know if I can give it a 5 out of 5 now, but I love the cinematography and I just love the experience of watching it. Hello from Seattle. Hello from Salt Lake, from Draper. Let's see. Who was the worst character in the Emoji movie? I hate High Five because of how annoying and unfunny and offensive he is. I don't know. All the characters were annoying. I guess High Five was annoying. I didn't really like the poop character. That wasn't for me. So, okay. See, Brian Stuff says, do you think Inside Out could manage a sequel if Pixar ever tried it out? Riley seems pretty emotionally mature by the end of the movie. I don't know if it would have a sequel, but I think it could be a spin-off. You know, you see all these different emotions in different people and creatures and other things like that. So I think that you could do a spin-off with another person, but I don't know if you would want to have Riley again. I think that maybe one of her friends at school or something like that could maybe be a better dynamic. It would be interesting to take somebody a little bit older. They could maybe struggle with some different themes that would be pretty bold. Like if you had a character struggling with their sexuality or some other things, that would be a bold thing for them to do. And it would be interesting and to see what their islands of personality are. And so it would be a different journey than what Riley went on. I don't know. Riley and Joy. When it comes to Disney live action, what is your favorite era? Mine would be the 90s. Ooh, that's a hard question. I don't know. I feel like maybe the 60s is my favorite. I really like, or I don't know if it's let me see. Let's see. Yeah, so like the 60s is like Parent Trap and just barely the late 50s, Old Yeller and Pollyanna and Shaggy Dog, the Absent-Minded Professor. Kind of that era I really enjoy. Mary Poppins is 1960, I think. 64. I like Bananas and Broomsticks and Treasure Island and I don't know, just all that era of live action Disney films I really enjoy. So let's see here. Yeah, send it over. Your film. I would be interested to check it out. Does anybody else have any other questions? Cats was, in my opinion, the worst movie of 2019. A lot of people felt that way. I had fun with Cats. It was different. It was unique. It was weird. I did not think it was the worst film of the year. I can understand why other people didn't like it, why you didn't like it. But it took a swing to me, and I was entertained enough by it. I really what was my least favorite? It feels like so long ago. 2019. I'm trying to even remember. I really hated The Kitchen. That was one of my least favorite. I thought that movie was terrible on so many levels. I really didn't like Godzilla King of Monsters. What else? Let me see here. I really hated Arctic Dogs. That was one of my least favorites. And then I really hated Black Christmas. I thought it was garbage. That was terrible. What Men Want, I didn't like. 47 Meters Down. The Dead Don't Die was artsy garbage, I think. And I really didn't like Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Those are some of my least favorite. Also, Last Christmas, I hated the twist. It was so stupid. If you have if you have Dropbox or Google link, you can send me Google Drive. You can send me the link that way. See, did you see Big Fish? If so, what did you think of it? Yeah, I actually have a review of Big Fish for Family Movie Night, so you should check that out. I enjoyed it. It's been a while. I can't really remember it super, super well, but I remember thinking it was beautiful and definitely one of the better Tim Burton movies. He has just been a pretty big miss for me in general. The last 2 decades, he's been very hit and miss, that's for sure. And most of his adaptations I have not liked. I didn't like his Planet of the Apes. I didn't like his Alice in Wonderland. I didn't like his What We Do in the Shadows. I didn't like his or whatever it was called, the Shadow one. I didn't like. I really did not like his Miss Peregrine's. There was just a whole bunch from him that were adaptations of other people's stories that I did not like. But I liked Frankenweenie, so I wish that he would tell his own stories. Let's see here. Didn't see Last Christmas. Yeah, it was really stupid. I did not like the twist. It was really bad. That's all I'll say. If you watch it and you like the twist, more power to you. It was not for me. And I was super excited for it because I love Christmas movies, but it was not good. What was the first film you've seen in theater? Mine was Toy Story, Thanksgiving 95. That's so cute. I'm sure I had seen other ones, but the first one that I really remember seeing that had a big impact on me was The Little Mermaid in 1989. And I was pretty much addicted to that movie for the next 3 years until Beauty and the Beast came out. But even beyond that, I just loved The Little Mermaid so much. The singing, Jodie Benson, incredible singing, and the story is very empowering and beautiful, and the animation is so great. And it was really something we just hadn't seen for my whole life. I had not seen a princess movie like that, or an animated movie like that. The other movie that I really remember seeing was seeing Home Alone when I was visiting my grandparents when I was 10. We saw it, and it's the first movie that I really remember just laughing my head off and just thought it was so funny. And so that's the first comedy that I really remember. So that's a fun memory to me. And I still love both those movies. I still love Little Mermaid, and I still love Home Alone. So they've held up for me. When I would love if this drive-in movie theater played either of those. But I don't. For some reason, I think they have some deal with Universal because all the movies have been Universal as opposed to Disney. Is there any other questions? This is such great questions. You guys are amazing with your questions. Another movie I really didn't like last year. There was a movie on Netflix called Otherhood about these horrible, annoying mothers, and it has such a great cast: Felicity Huffman, Angela Bassett, and Patricia Arquette. I did not like it. And then Playmobil the movie I also really didn't like. So Pixar Fan says, I saw The Lion King 2019 and I liked it when I saw it, but the more I think about it, the more I'm disappointed with it. Yeah, sometimes that happens. I did not like it. I thought it was a snooze. I just couldn't believe that they did what they did. Yeah, it was bad. It was definitely bad. I wasn't a big fan of Spider-Man Far From Home. And everybody else seemed to love that movie, but I don't know. I didn't really like it. I also didn't love The Irishman, which was a big hit last year. I don't know. I just thought it was self-indulgent and pretty dull. And I didn't think the character was a very interesting character until like the last 20 minutes, and then he finally becomes a more empowered, interesting character. Also, I didn't really love Terminator Dark Fate. I didn't think that really worked. And also Shazam was my big unpopular opinion last year that people were very upset about, that I didn't like Shazam. I just felt like it was tonally all over the place, and I did not feel like that the Zachary Levi, as charming as he is, was had any connection to the Billy character. They didn't feel like the same person to me at all, and I don't know. I just didn't care for it. I didn't think it was very good. See, unpopular opinion, but I liked Aladdin 2018 more than The Lion King. Actually, I don't feel like that's unpopular at all. I feel like most people enjoyed Aladdin more than The Lion King. I really do. I certainly did. I was right on the edge for Aladdin. I just, some of the things they did I didn't really care for. But it had definitely its charms for sure. And I think when Will Smith was just being Will Smith, he was sort of Hitch mode. I think it was the most fun of the movie. And I didn't like Jafar at all, though. I thought that was a big miss. And I thought that choosing to pause everything so she could sing the song, that was a weird choice. But I was right on the edge on it. It's not awful. definitely an interesting remake. So I think most people like it better than Lion King. I think that Maleficent, Mistress of Evil was the weird one. That one was such a strange movie. I didn't end up going fresh on it, but I was really close because I feel like they really tried to make something weird. But the sort of the last half of it kind of became kind of boring for me. But oh man, it's such a weird movie. So I don't know. Any other questions? Of things going on? And thank you so much again for your support as I had that health scare. That was obviously really, really scary. But like I said, I'm on I've got some new medication, and I'm really trying to limit my salt. I'm trying to do what I can to make myself be as healthy as I can. So that's my commitment to all of you, and I really appreciate all of your support back. And I hope that you get a chance to check out those Sunday devotionals. I'm really proud of them. It's probably some of my best writing that I've done, and I hope that they give you some comfort and some encouragement. I really tried to make them as non-denominational as possible. How do you feel about Shyamalan as a director? I'm not a fan. Even his supposed good movies are not for me. I like a few of his movies, but I don't in general like him as a director. I find him very gimmicky. And thoughts on Stepbrothers and Anchormen. I actually have not seen either, believe it or not. It says M. Night has only made 2 good movies. I mean, I think that's probably fair. Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. I don't like Unbreakable as much as other people seem to, but I definitely think it's overall a successful movie. I actually gave a mild recommendation to Glass just because I thought it was a weird movie. And so some of his choices intrigued me. But I don't know. I feel like he's a super gimmicky director, and he can't just tell a good story. He has to try to trick the audience. And that's not for me. That's definitely not for me. Even Signs, which people say is such a good movie, I don't really care for. It had been very overhyped, and when I came back from my mission and I saw it, and I was like, what? I don't know. It's not my favorite. But, Sixth Sense is a lot of fun, especially that first time that you watch it, if you want to watch a fun little thriller. Before you know what happened. But it's pretty good. It's just, he gets too in love with these gimmicks and wanting to trick the audience. The way they killed off David Dunn was distasteful. Yeah, that's fair. It was a flawed film, that's for sure. Thoughts on The Iron Giant. I love that movie so much. When I was a kid, I threw a fit when we had to see Tarzan for a third time and not see The Iron Giant once. Aw, man, that's too bad. We're actually going to be covering Iron Giant for our underrated animation series in June. So you look forward to us talking all about that. And I'm really excited for that. That's going to be really fun. I love The Iron Giant. It is such a beautiful, wonderful movie with such huge heart and fun and humor and beautiful animation. I am a huge fan. We're going to be covering that coming up, and I'm excited about it. We're also going to be doing a special 25th anniversary extra Talking Disney episode where Stanford and I are going to talk all about a Goofy movie. So that's going to be really fun. I'm excited about that too. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. We have 101 Dalmatians coming up, which is going to be great. I'm looking forward to talking about that. And then we have some hidden gems from Netflix coming up this week. So I'm excited for that. And then we have Muppet May all month for Family Movie Night. So please check out those reviews. I have some fun stuff that I'm trying to work out and plan for Muppet May. This is my 3rd year doing Muppet May, and so a lot of the big ones have already been covered. And so the plan is to do, we did Follow That Bird this week, and then we'll do Christmas Eve at Sesame Street. I meant Otter's Jug Band Christmas, the Muppet Wizard of Oz, and Labyrinth is the plan. So let's see. Rachel, since you've done a review for Sesame Street's Follow That Bird, do you think you'll do a review of the second Sesame Street film, The Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland? Well, see, I thought about doing that one, but I don't know. Is it good? I haven't seen it. See, do you think it's worth seeing? Let me know if you think it's worth seeing. I do love Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. I know it's kind of a weird time of year to do it, but I love that movie. And so I thought, and I've actually never seen the Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, but I thought it sounded kind of fun. But I could do the Elmo and Grouchland if you think it's worth doing, if you think it's a good one. I would be happy to do that. So I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what you think for family movie night. And I'd really appreciate if you guys shared that Follow That Bird review, because I think it's such a fun movie. And let's see. I'll need to tell my friends Iron Giant's my favorite too. Oh yeah, please share it when we. I love that obscure animation and underrated animation series. I think it's so much fun. So. Do you like Avatar 2009? I love the visuals, but the story's generic and a story I've seen 10,000 times. Yeah, I think that the problem with Avatar is not that the story is generic. The problem is the movie is too long for a generic story. If it was 90 minutes of just this fairly generic story, it would not matter because you'd be so dazzled by the visuals and the characters. And plot is not everything. There's a lot of movies that don't have the most intricate plot or the most original plot, but because it clips along so well and you have such fun characters that you don't care. The problem with Avatar is it's just too long for the story that it's trying to tell. That's my opinion, at least. But I think that people are probably too hard on Avatar sometimes. I think it's a perfectly, entertaining movie. It's just too long for what it is. That's my feeling. So I feel like the problems with Avatar are easily fixed. And so for this next one's coming out, I feel like it's very easy to kind of make a better story, to make it tighter, make it, just a little bit more engaging. The world building's already set up for you. That's the hardest part, is coming up with this new world. And so I'm actually pretty optimistic about the new Avatar movies, but, we'll just have to see. Let's see. I think it's worth watching. Oh, the Grassland. Okay. Maybe I'll do that instead of the Christmas Eve one, and I'll wait and do Christmas Eve at Christmas. Probably makes more sense. Okay, yeah. I've never actually seen the Muppets and Wizard of Oz too, so check that out. Elmo and Grouchland is extremely funny. Elmo really does look like a fish out of water in a flip-flopped inversion of our modern world. Oh, okay. Yeah, I will watch it then. Maybe next week. I'll do it for next week. So thanks for the suggestion. I appreciate it. So yeah, Muppet May. I'm really excited about it. I love the Muppets. So, and then in June I'm doing Teen Month for Family Movie Night. So that's fun. Get to do movies that are a little more mature that maybe I might not do in regular family movie night. So I'm excited about that. Did you see Parasite? Did you like it or think it deserved to win Best Picture? Yes, I saw Parasite multiple times. I loved it. I thought it was such a well-made movie. I thought it had things to say, but it didn't beat you over the head with them. It left you kind of thinking about the whole idea of these themes and class and everything, but it was also funny. It was also sad. It was also thrilling. It had everything that you basically could want in a movie. I thought the acting was all excellent. I thought all of the production design was all excellent. I was so happy that it won. I mean, so rarely does the movie that's actually the best movie of the year win Best Picture, and it did, and I was very thrilled about that. I thought that Parasite was not only a very beautiful, artistic film, but it had something to say, and it was also very accessible and something that I think anybody could like. Just a really, really good movie. Let's see. Do you like Walk the Line? I love Walk the Line. I do. I love it. I love the how they handle the relationship between June Carter and Johnny Cash when he goes on his June Carter love walk, and I like the fact that it's just about this one part of his life. It's not trying to tell his whole life, which I think works really well. And I actually like the fact that Joaquin does his own singing in there. Most of the time that doesn't work for me, but I think that he sounds enough like Johnny Cash to make it work. I don't know. I like that they did that for that movie, but most of the time I don't like that. But, and then Reese Witherspoon's really good. I think they had really nice chemistry. So yeah, I love Walk the Line. Actually, I think it's a really interesting little romantic story, not just a great biopic. So there we go. I think did I get everyone's question? Bye. So thank you so much for your questions, you guys. This was really fun. I really enjoyed doing this. And like I said, I look forward to May. Maybe I'll actually end up back in a theater in May. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I definitely will do the drive-in, but we'll see if I go to a regular theater. It might even be a critic screening in May. Who knows? Who knows? It's a crazy time to be alive. But I'm going to keep doing the Sunday devotionals, and please check those out. I really worked really hard on all of them. And then also on Family Movie Night, Muppet May. And then we have Talking Disney, we have Obscure Animation, and Criterion Project all going on, plus everything going on at the Hallmarkies podcast. So it's just a very busy time for me. But I love being busy, especially during this quarantine. I think I'd go crazy if I wasn't. So, one last question. What's your favorite band and musician? That's a hard question. I do love Broadway. Hi, Forrest. My favorite, I love Idina Menzel. I love Billy Joel. I love the Beatles. I love, probably the best concert I've ever been to was Kenny Chesney. Such a great, great concert. He was so fun. I love Sarah Bareilles, who's one of my favorites. And she was great in concert. That was really fun. Josh Groban is one of my favorites. I love him. And Michael Bublé. I've loved both. I've seen both of them 3 times live, and I love their concerts. So yeah, I think that'll be great. And so great questions, everybody. And I look forward to all your thoughts on the content. And I didn't think anybody would watch this live stream, so this has been great. And so thanks so much, everybody. And I hope you're safe. And I hope you're feeling loved and everything's okay in your neck of the wood. I feel like we're powering through this. Just have to be strong a little bit longer, and it's going to be okay. There we go. Thanks so much, everybody, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye!